Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
let me just. So I'm gonna just start recording. Just a second. I start recording.
Yeah.
Start recording here. I'm just gonna clap once as well, so we have the audio synced. Okay, that should do it. All right.
Hello, everyone. What's up, aliens? Welcome back to the Finn Invasion podcast. I am your host, Autumn Finn, and today I have a very special guest. This is the first Zoom interview that I have done in 2 years, and I chose you. Arthur.
I'm very flattered. Thank you.
Hashtag honored. You're hashtag honored.
Oh, you kind of had no choice because I'm all the way in Brazil right now, but I still appreciate it.
You're right. I would have had you here in person if I could have. So guys, it was quite a journey to get here today, not because of the Brazil thing, but because we had 40 fucking minutes of technical goddamn difficulties. It was out of control, you guys. We had to troubleshoot so many times, and we finally got it to work, and now him and I are both recording audio and video on two separate sources to fucking make sure that this shit goes through. So, to start off, Arthur, introduce yourself by telling us your name, your age, your astrological sign, and how you would identify yourself as, like, an artist or a creative, or your, like, career.
Okay. My name is Arthur Viegas. I am 22, and I'm a Taurus. And it's hard to identify myself as an artist, to be honest. I'm still struggling with that because I'm the kind of person who does a lot of things, right? So I am a writer. So I've written my book.
Then you are an artist. If you do a lot of things, that makes you even more of an artist.
To identify exactly what it is, because I majored in film. I became a film teacher when I was 20, so I started teaching film. I taught for about a year and a half. I'm also an English teacher, and I'm also studying psychology, and I also have written a book, and I've published some articles every now and then, and I work on film, and so like it's a mix of filmmaker, writer, and a bunch of stuff. So for now, for the purpose of this interview, I'm a writer. I'll put the writer hat on and we'll go from there.
All right. Put the writer hat on. And I'll put the podcaster hat on. Because I technically am also a writer, just not like fiction or anything like that.
Sure.
So the way that I want to start this interview is with some like fun, light, easy breezy, beautiful cover boy, rapid fire questions to kind of get to know you. Like I like to start with kind of the fun stuff to ease into it. Great idea, Autumn. Totally. I'm
in.
It's because I'm still in kind of the experimental phase of how I want to conduct my interviews because this podcast is brand new and I am doing it like by myself and everything. But I feel like this is a good way to start because I don't want to jump right into like, so what's your worst childhood trauma? Which that's not a question that I'm asking, but I do want to just kind of let my listeners get to know the fun side of you as a person before we get into your deeper, brooding author side. All right.
Okay.
So, number 1, Friends or How I Met Your Mother?
Friends.
Interesting. Oh, and
especially today.
Oh my God.
Very important day. Unfortunately. Very sad day.
So sad. I fucking just interviewed a band and I asked them Friends or How I Met Your Mother the day before he died. Yeah. And I was like, God,
and that was my favorite character. Yeah.
Of course he was. Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel. Take some time. I know it's a tough one.
Definitely marry Disney Channel. Disney Channel is the marrying kind.
That's a problem. Oh my God. I feel like that's a hot take.
No, it is. It's like if you think about like, how would you define the marrying kind? You would think about Disney Channel. Like you wouldn't think about Cartoon Network. So it would be marry Disney Channel, kill Cartoon Network, and fuck Nickelodeon. I think that's exactly right. Honestly,
I think
if anybody disagrees, they're just wrong. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. It's just completely wrong. But yeah, there you go.
All right. Thanks so much for this interview. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I agree with the fucking Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon, they're wild. I'll tell you that for free. I would marry Cartoon Network. I'm sorry. Like, Cartoon Network is so...
No way.
No, I loved Disney Channel, right? I loved That's So Raven.
Sure.
I loved freaking, like the Proud Family, and I loved
Zach and Cody.
Zach and Cody was so great. Hannah
I mean, come
Montana,
on. Yeah, Hannah Montana. I mean, come
dude.
on.
Zach and Cody. Oh my god,
That's what
it
I want.
holds
That's what I
up.
want to come home with. That's what I want to come home to every day. Just like
Yeah,
not Cartoon Network. Like I don't want to. Like I want to see Hannah
yeah.
Montana on my couch. That's the important thing to come home.
There were some like lines on like Disney Channel, like on Hannah Montana and dude, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody still holds up. Holds up so
Oh yeah,
good. Like that one
100%.
part where Mr. Mosby was like, "How do you lose a woman?" And Cody goes, "You forget to
Yes,
cherish
beautiful.
her."
Oh, it's poetic. It's incredible. It's beautifully written. Look at that.
Phenomenal actors. They
Yeah.
really struck gold with Dylan and what the
Oh
fuck
yeah,
is
no,
his
no.
name?
That's
Cole, Dylan and
um,
Cole. I think that's his name.
I think yeah. I'm not really sure to be, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Cole Sprouse and Dylan Sprouse, and then there was Zach
Yes,
and Cody on
yes,
the
yes,
show.
yes.
Yeah,
That sounds about right to me.
that was lightning in a bottle in that show. They did great. Which another question. So since you're just such a whore for Disney, favorite Disney princess? I literally, bro, when you went like this, I thought you were pointing to yourself. You're like, I'm my favorite Disney princess.
I'm the Disney princess. No,
I literally thought you were pointing to
haven't-
yourself.
I
But
haven't
then-
reached that level quite yet. I'm trying. Probably Ariel.
Okay, she's been popping
Has to be.
lately. What, you got a
Yeah.
thing for redheads?
Sure. There you go. There. That's what it is.
Okay.
Not the fact that she's a mermaid or anything. It's
You can't fuck a mermaid.
it's the hair.
You can't fuck a mermaid.
Find a way.
Oh my god. Okay. All right, next one.
Okay.
Here we go. We're going into some fun, deep would you rathers. Would you rather
All right.
be bald for the rest of your life or have a 90s boy band frosted tips for the rest of your life? That is
90s
tough.
boy band. No, the boy band thing. It would at least be funny to explain it. You know,
Yeah. There
it would make
is
conversation.
a third option, and I feel like you're not going to go with it. Or
Okay.
if neither of those looks bother you, a purple mullet.
No. I'm keeping with the other one.
Or the
No way I'm
frosted
having a
tips.
mullet.
Or the
I'm
frosted
not having a
tips.
mullet. No, there's no chance.
Would you rather have Cheeto dust on your fingers on one hand, either left or right, or like for the rest of your life, or never eat cheese again?
Oh no,
I
love cheese.
know.
There's no way.
I
I'm eating
love
that
cheese. I fucking
There's
love
no
cheese.
way. Like here in my state, we have a special cheese that's only made here in this state in Brazil.
What's it
It's
called?
the best cheese in the world. It's called queijo Minas. Queijo
Spell-
is cheese in Portuguese, and Minas.
I knew that.
is the
I knew
name
that.
of-
I knew
is the
that.
name
I
of
knew
the-
that.
It's the it's the name of the state. So yeah, it's only made here. At least it should be, and it's incredible. And it's my
Yeah.
favorite. I have it in the fridge right now. I'm gonna eat some right after this. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. How about this? New question. Now that I know you're passionate about cheese, I fucking love cheese. Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Gouda. Tough already. Parmesan. Mozzarella. Fuck, marry, kill. Take your time. Cheese
I would
is
kill
so
all
good.
of them and marry queijo Minas. That's what I would do. I just kill all of them. I don't care. I'm keeping my cheese. I'm representing my
So,
state, my
so
country.
hold on.
I don't care
So
about
that
any of them.
means you are fully giving up on like having a 4-cheese omelet or like a
100%.
5-cheese pizza.
For this cheese, yeah, I'll give up. Yeah, no problem.
That being said, if I give you free the Finn Invasion merch, will you send me this cheese, or is it illegal to like ship that?
No, well, maybe I have already done that before in previous occasions. I mean, that's just a hypothetical. Actually, I have never done that, just in case it's not allowed. But if it is allowed, then I've done it.
So, genre of books and or movies.
Okay.
If you're choosing
Okay.
between these three, not a fuck,
Okay.
marry, kill, just like choosing between
Sure, just choose it. Okay.
psychological thriller, horror, or romance.
Horror. I love horror movies. I absolutely adore them. Yeah, I really do. I love slashers, especially. Slashers are incredible. I love them.
All
Friday
right.
the 13th, adore it.
I'm not a
I really
horror
do.
girl. I'm not a horror movie girl at
You're-
all.
you're
I'm
missing
a
out. It's-
scaredy little cat. I did love Midsommar. I loved that movie.
Oh, I love Midsummer.
That
Oh,
stuck.
it's
That
great.
stuck with me.
Yes,
That stuck with me.
I love that movie. I think
That
that's my
movie-
favorite of that director. Yeah.
That movie fucking stays with you. And I've thought about watching
Wonderful.
Hereditary. But people tell me it like literally traumatized them.
Yeah. No. If Midsummer fucked you up a little bit, I wouldn't recommend watching Hereditary unless you really want to like feel as much pain as you possibly can after watching that.
Have you ever seen a Serbian film? Or I think that's what it's called. The one that's like
No.
the most, it's like banned in some countries. It's like apparently like the most horrible, disgusting, like gruesome horror movie of all time that has like sexual, like pedophile, like it's like so bad.
Oh yeah, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very good.
If you hate yourself and you and you want to
Right.
go ahead. All right, next
That's
question.
why I like slashers, because slashers is just like
It's
blood
fun.
It's just for the hell of it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't stick with you like psychologically. It's just,
No.
there's more to it. But I won't get into it. If I do it, I'm just gonna like talk for hours.
It's like you're just like, if I see babies exploding, like that's gonna stay with me.
No, I don't like when children get hurt in movies. I
Oh
do not
God,
like
or a
that.
dog,
I
or
do
a
not.
dog. When dogs get hurt in
which is,
movies.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I don't watch Hereditary again. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but you can get an idea.
You're like, no spoilies.
Yeah, I'm not going
No
to tell you,
spoilies.
but it's like if for the people who've watched, they know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Next question's a little lighter. Frogs or lizards? Which do you like more?
oh, lizards for sure.
Really? I love
They're
frogs.
so much cooler, but like they look like a small like kind of dinosaur, kind of like alligator. It's so
I
much
think
more
you just
fun than a
like
frog.
Geico Insurance. I think you just like
Sure,
Geico
yeah, there you
car.
go. That's what I thought of as soon as you said lizard. I thought of Geico. Yeah,
Oh my
thought
God.
of the commercial. So I can't.
I think
If they
frogs
put a
are.
frog in that commercial, I'll love frogs then. But until then,
Would you rather have your house be infested with cockroaches or with ants? Now, understand, with ants, bigger volume, far more of them. But with
Yeah.
cockroaches, we're talking about wake up every morning, turn on the light in the kitchen. There's baby ones, maybe like 5 to 7 in your kitchen every morning, or ants like on your ceiling, like a fuck ton of them.
oh,
You've
God.
lived in Florida. You should know the answer.
No, there's no way I can't choose. I hate both of those things with a passion. I can't possibly. I would just leave. I'd be like, I'm not living here. There's
Would
no
you?
way I'm living
Would you?
here.
You would burn the house down just to
I
kill
would
them all?
burn the house down. Oh yeah, absolutely. That house
Okay.
is
Arthur. Gun to your head. What do you choose? Ants or cockroaches? Gun to your fucking. How about this?
Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger.
Okay, how about this?
do it.
Gun to my head.
Oh my God. No, I can't do it. Look at that. See?
Some sick fuck just really wants to know. Gun to my head. I'm only 26. I have so much to live for. And this podcast would never come out. Gun to my head from someone else. Gun to my head. Answer roaches.
Okay, how long do I have to live with them? Is it forever or do I get rid of them?
1 year. 1 year.
1 year? Oh, come on. There's no way I'm choosing any of that.
6 months. Fine. 6 months.
6 months.
And then you get rid of them forever. Answer roaches, dude. Come on. In my opinion, this is quite an easy choice.
Okay, I would have to say roaches. Because like the idea of just having a bunch of ants crawling on top of me and biting me for 6 months, that's gonna happen. That's eventually gonna happen. I'm gonna be destroyed.
I am
if
going
it's
off.
roaches, it's gross, but I just turn on the light and they get scared. So
Okay,
at least
Arthur.
that.
I'm going off of personal experiences. These ants are incredibly small and do not bite. I'm going off of the infestation
So it's one that
I
does
had.
not. Okay.
Not bite,
They
just-
do not
just-
bite.
They don't
All
bite.
right.
They're really small. There's just a fuck ton of them, right? Like crawl like
Okay, then
thousands.
if they don't bite, then I'll choose.
And they
Yeah,
don't
okay, that makes
touch
sense.
you.
Okay, so I'll go with ants because I was thinking about ants that do bite and like crawl all over you.
Red ants? Oh my god! Oh, red ants? Are you fucking kidding me? That'd be so.
Right,
But here's
yeah,
the thing:
I wouldn't-
I have had both of those infestations before.
I'm getting like,
And both of them
I feel like
lasted about
something's
6
crawling on
months.
me.
I'll tell you what. Would you rather walk into your home and see on your ceiling 6 different frogs, like the cute ones, like kind of small, green, or 6 different lizards, medium size, the gray ones that you see outside in Florida all the time? This is such a dumb question, but now that I know how much you like lizards, like passionately more than frogs,
Yeah.
even though frogs are kind of silly and cute.
I'm still choosing lizards.
Lizards are, here's what fucks me up about lizards. They're fast. They're fast.
Yeah.
But frogs are like, they just like hop. They're like so chill and fun and silly. Like they don't scare me. Like lizards are like, no.
I mean, lizards. Yeah, no, I can't do it. Geico.
Rats or
That's all I have to
spiders.
say.
Rats or spiders in your apartment.
Rats or spiders?
Yeah. Now we're just eating bugs. I swear to God, we'll get
Okay.
out of bug territory in a sec.
Okay.
I know it's
Do
tough.
either of them bite me or not?
Neither of them bite. It's just the aesthetic.
Neither of them bite.
Neither of them bite.
They're just crawling around.
Just like crawling around, kind of bothering you. They don't hide, but they don't like jump on your food. Neither of them. They just kind of every now and then, a few times a week, you look up at your wall and you see them just 1 or 2 just like crawling.
Okay, then it would be spiders. Yeah, if they're not biting, then it's fine.
Yeah, because
They're
rats are
biting, then-
enormous. Because rats
Yeah,
are
exactly.
enormous. I see what you mean. Like, you gotta get rid of one. All right. I let's get out of bugs. I'm sorry. I just got so fascinated by your opinions. Okay. Mermaid Man or Barnacle Boy?
I do not know Barnacle Boy. Can you believe that? I do not
Next
know
question. Fuck, marry, kill. Ketchup, ranch, sour cream. I know.
I would marry ketchup just because I can use it. I use
So
it
much.
mostly on a lot of things, so it's like it's so useful that I would want it in my life. But to fuck and kill,
I know, it's tough.
you know, it's funny because like we don't really eat that much ranch at all in Brazil. It's something that I've only eaten in America. That's not very common here. Like
Well,
it doesn't
then-
exist.
Well, then I've changed it now to fuck, marry, kill, ketchup, sour cream, or mayo.
Okay, mayo.
That includes-
that
that
changes
inclu-
everything.
That includes Chipotle mayo.
That
Or
does
like
change
spicy
everything.
mayo.
Yeah, if I'm making a sandwich and there's no mayo, I'm gonna be very sad.
I love mayo. I like mayo.
Okay. All right, so I guess I'm gonna marry ketchup, fuck mayo, and kill sour cream. I don't want to kill sour cream, but I have to.
I love
because
sour
it,
cream,
you know-
yeah. I love
I
all
do, I do.
those. I would have to kill ketchup just because I used to love ketchup more
Oh,
than I
man.
do, but I am obsessed with ranch and I really love sour cream. Like if you put it
Okay.
on some fucking like quesadilla, like it's over. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. This one is not written down. I'm just thinking of it on the spot. Fuck, marry, kill. Cilantro, basil, and oregano. And you're in Brazil. I feel like the food is better there than it is in America. I love this.
Okay.
I love this.
I'm taking this very seriously. So
You and your frosted tips are taking
So you
this
said-
very
oregano, cilantro, and
Basil.
and basil, right? Okay.
basil.
So marry oregano, fuck basil, and kill cilantro. I will not explain myself.
I would
refuse.
marry. Here's the thing. Basil is so great. Basil never
Yeah.
fails. Basil never
Uh,
fails. I would kill
I just
oregano.
don't- Yeah, I just don't eat it that often. So oregano is more like I just use it more often.
Dude, you take some basil, you throw it with tomatoes, you throw it with some Gouda cheese, some Havarti cheese. It's out of control. Out of control. So good. And then I would kill oregano. I would, dude, fucking cilantro. Would I marry cilantro? No, I have to marry basil. And then I would fuck cilantro, but I think cilantro would probably be pretty mild in bed, I think.
Sure.
But I just can't kill cilantro. All right. We're getting towards the end of the rapid fire, which is good because we're reaching 20 minutes, but these are some fun questions. You know what I mean? These are fun. We're getting to know you.
Yeah. I'm taking it seriously.
This is the last one. This last one actually gets a little intense. Would you rather not know the difference between your dreams and reality? Meaning, like, your dreams are so vivid, and then you wake up from them, and your like actual reality, you don't know which one's real. Or would you never have a dream again and only have nightmares once a week for the rest of your life? But then know that your reality is your reality. Would you rather have that confusion or just have, like, bad fucking nightmares, but only once a week?
Okay.
Because if I were to say every day, I think it would be an obvious choice. No one wants nightmares every day, but once a week, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can handle that.
But then you know that your reality is your reality.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm kind of divided in this.
It's tough.
There's a part of me that's like this romantic part of me who's like, you know what? There's no way to live without dreams. And then just like, I would never give that up, even if I couldn't tell them apart. But there's also like a very rational part of me who's like,
yes, of course.
That would be an unbearable way to live, to the point that I wouldn't be able to even like realize my dreams. And I wouldn't even be able to do anything really. So I got to go with the rational part of me on this one and go with the nightmare once a week. Even though there is a romantic part of me that's, you know, just so you know.
You're a writer and you're choosing knowing your reality?
But that's what I'm saying. But like,
it's wild.
But I write to understand my reality. That's the point of writing for me. And if I don't know the difference, then the writing is just useless.
Okay, Shakespeare.
I don't know. I think Shakespeare would definitely choose not to know the difference. He would be like, no way.
Shakespeare would just write a bunch of sexual innuendos about teenagers.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think he even knew the difference anyway. So he already lived in that reality.
Oh my God. Okay. Now let's get into the book. Are you ready?
Okay. 100%.
So, obviously we have to start with tell me what this book is about, you know, where the idea came from. Give me the full story, because I'm sure people listening, as many fans as you have, I know there's millions, you know, I know some of them probably don't know. So just let me into your world, Arthur.
Okay. So, I started writing when I was about like 14, even maybe 13. And I did it just as a hobby, something that I would do on the side, something that, like, if I was sad or bored,
it was therapeutic. It was like cathartic for you.
Yes, very much so. Yes. And I did that for a long time, and mostly because of my grandfather and my father, because they're both writers. My dad, he writes short stories.
You think it's in your blood?
Actually, it's not necessarily a genetic thing. It's mostly like observing them do that and kind of learning from them and wanting to, inspired by them. So, and my grandfather published his book before he passed away, which was an incredible book. I actually have it in front of me right now. And my dad, he's never published a book before. He published a lot of like short stories. His like stories have been featured in books, like with many different stories. And he has a blog, and like, he's not a writer by like he's not like, he doesn't work as a writer. He's an engineer. He works with, like, he has his company, he does different things, but that's something he's always been passionate about. And he's actually publishing his first book this year, which I'm really excited about. Just watching.
Damn it, I hate interrupting. I'm trying to
No,
get
go
better.
ahead, please.
I'm trying to get better about not interrupting because I know it's not what a good podcast host does. My grandmother just published a book. It's on Amazon and she's 86.
That's wonderful.
And she published.
Fantastic. Yes.
I know. Savage.
It's really incredible.
Woman is my hero. Anyways, continue.
Right,
So sorry to interrupt.
No. That's incredible. And so just observing them do that and just like being inspired by that. So I started doing that just as a thing on the side.
Of course.
And it started to become more and more like frequent. I would write to deal with my problems. I would write to deal with life. I would write just short stories. I would write with friends sometimes, like we would get together and write something.
Really?
And
wow.
And I just wrote a bunch of stuff. Like I just had like a whole like file full of different writings about all sorts of subjects, like completely separate stuff. Some stuff was like fiction, just short stories. Other stuff was like about myself. Others were just letters. I used to write letters to people I liked, like just people I loved, who were my family, friends. I used to write like letters for them.
I did that too. I think, but people should do that more often. I think it's
Right? Yeah, I
so
love that.
touching. Yeah.
It really is. It really
Your
is. So I
birthday
had-
cards, the birthday cards you've given out must be so sick.
Oh yeah, when I was younger, I used to do it more. I have to do that again, like as I haven't done it in a long time. But
I think we all
so I had
should.
this just this file, like just a bunch of files, just full of writing, and it got to a point that it was during 2022, it was the beginning of 2022.
Got it.
And I had just gotten off a relationship of 2 years, and I was kind of feeling bad. I was just not doing really well, and I wanted to write more. And the idea just came of like, well, what if I took everything that I've written, not everything obviously, but just like kind of selected certain things, and try to compile some sort of diary, some sort of journal for myself.
Right.
But then publish that just to make me as vulnerable as humanly possible.
I feel that.
And really, and just doing it for me. Like I wasn't writing, thinking about what people would think and how people would react. I was mostly just writing to write. And then I would comment on certain things. Like I would put like certain chapters is just like a letter that I wrote for someone. And then talking about what that letter meant at the time and how I felt about it and what happened, like just commenting on it. And it was just a huge therapy for me, right? And
Documenting your feelings in real time. I did that recently with a podcast episode. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Words. What I always say is that I think words mean the difference between world peace and world war. They're the most important things on earth. Like you need words, like you need communication. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's a way to dominate problems, because like the thing is, when problems are in your head, they're here. Like you don't really have control over that.
Yes.
But once you put them on paper, it's like, okay, now you're in my world now, right? Now I can deal with you. And it's like it's a way of empowering yourself, and I think it's incredibly useful.
There was this quote from a show called Jane the Virgin. It's like this really funny, silly show, but she said, she was like, you need to let your thoughts out, because when they're in your brain, they're really, really big, and then as soon as you verbalize them, they get smaller. And it takes that weight off of you. Exactly. Yeah.
And I have one quote at the back of my book that was exactly.
Here we go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Woo!
I wrote,
Excerpts.
writing has always been not only an escape from unbending emotions, but above all, a mechanism of understanding and dominating that which has overpowered the mind. So that's the idea of like something that you put on paper and now you can dominate it, right? So, and that was the idea of the book. That's why I have that quote in the back of the book of like, that's just my way of doing that. But it was kind of a mess, as you can imagine. The book is a mess. I'll start with that. The book is a complete mess.
But so is everyone. It's not
as much of a mess as it was when I started, because it was
it's honest.
Everything, right?
It's honest.
It was just
it's
a
candid,
bunch of
you know.
that is I put myself. I became as vulnerable as I possibly could with this, which is hard for me as well, because I'm usually not. I don't think it's fearless, because I think fear is always going to be there. I think the best thing for people is just because fear is always going to be there no matter what you do. It's more of a bravery type thing, but it's like I don't even consider myself that brave for doing this. I'm not trying to like.
Well, you are
this arrogant.
You're incredibly brave and talented.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah.
But so that was it. So but then I divided into sections, right? So the first part is just fiction and poetry. So it's just that. It's just some poems and a short story that I wrote.
Yeah.
And then after that, I go into like, if I'm not mistaken, it's letters that I wrote and stuff that I've written for people, stuff that happened in my life. Then I go into stuff that I've written just for myself, or like, because I used to do like public speaking, so like some certain speeches that I wrote and talking
Love
about what that meant
speeches.
for
Yeah.
me. And then at the end, I go into this list that I wrote for myself a long time ago, and I was like 15 or so, not 15, probably a little older, but it was just a way of me
16,
kind of like
17? Anything from English class?
probably not really. It was just a list of things that I would, whenever I had a problem, right? What I found out is that I would have problems, just like psychological problems, let's say, something that I've
Right.
been dealing with, some sort of issue that I've been struggling with. And I would find the solution. And that usually happens with a lot of people. It's like you find the solution, you figure out what's wrong, you figure out what you have to do. But days go by dealing with that same problem again because you can't implement the solution. So what I started doing is just writing down the solution, writing down what it is that I learned that I should remember. So
Yes.
if I got to the point that I'm dealing with that again, I can just open that and read it again
Yes.
so that I can, be reminded of that. So I started writing that list. And that's how I finished the book. It just,
yeah. Because sometimes the right solution or the right, or at least the better, smarter answer, like more logical, disappears when you get caught up in the moment of emotions. And so
Yes.
you need to remember and be able to sort of reconnect with that logical side of yourself, because we are such like, our minds and our like emotions are just constantly changing. And so it's so hard to hold on to that logical side of us when I mean, it's so human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So, so this book it seems to be sort of a collection or like a compilation of,
Yes.
all of these different thoughts and feelings that you've had. And I kind of like that you said it's a mess, which is very,
absolutely.
I mean, that's very relatable, and everyone's mind is a mess. So when you're consuming that, when it's a little bit disorganized, I think you can consume it in a way where it feels very organic and it feels very relatable and like very human. You know what I mean? So I like that. That, to me, very bold move. Very bold move.
That, yeah.
Did you give you first?
No, sorry. No, I've had friends come up to me like after reading it and be like, "Yeah, no, that was good, but like I didn't get the point." And I was like, "Me neither." It's just I can't tell you.
Do we ever get the point?
Right? Yeah, it's just like
that's how we feel about life. Yeah, it is.
It was an attempt at finding the point. It wasn't really an attempt at presenting a conclusion.
And everyone can everyone can draw different conclusions and interpretations of it.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
exactly.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, 100p. And I love the honesty of that. No, that to me is an extremely bold move. Did you put any organization into it whatsoever, whether it was like just chronological order or, kind of?
Not really. It was just I wanted to give people, so the way I wanted people to read this book, it was in the sense of like you can just open on any page and start reading from there, and it's not really going to be like you're not missing anything. Like any chapter that you start from, it's fine. Like it may be like I might reference one thing here or there that you might be like, oh, I didn't read that part, but that's it. That's like you can open any page and start reading from there, and you'll get the point of what the chapter is talking about.
That is so cool, dude. It's like like a diary. I love that. Oh my god.
Because I love reading that way. Like there's certain books that I love. And the reason the title of the book is The Many Meditations of a Young Man's Mind. And the part of the title, Meditations, comes from...
Oh.
No, the Meditations actually come... No, but it is many. But it comes from Marcus Aurelius's meditation, right? So that's a book written by the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, which is literally a book that you can open on any page.
Right.
And you can just read his ideas. And it's just a list of ideas. That's it. And it's an incredible book. I absolutely adore it. So it was very much, inspired by that.
How intelligent do you think you have to be to write a book? Yourself, not ghostwriters. You know what I'm talking about.
Sure. It's hard to say that it's a matter of intelligence as well, because it's a matter of a lot of things. Like some people are incredibly intelligent, but they just don't have the personality traits for it. Like
I see what you mean.
Maybe they don't have the patience to do it, or maybe they don't even want to do it. Like so many people like who are incredibly intelligent, they don't care about writing whatsoever, and I don't judge that at all. I'm not sure if it's a matter of intelligence. I usually describe my intelligence to people as like I'm smart enough to know that I'm not that smart. And that's
I
perfect for
love
me.
that.
I
That's
love being that. It's like,
self-awareness. That's
yeah, it's like
self-awareness.
because like so you see some people who are so dumb and they think they're incredibly smart, and you see people who are incredibly smart and they go through hell, man. Like I have friends who are absolute geniuses. Like I have a friend who is an incredible genius. You know, he studies mechanical engineering,
Do I know
and
this
he's
friend?
like, no, he's from Brazil.
Okay.
I actually quote him on the book on the first chapter. He's like
Get out of
so, and
here.
he's a great guy, but he's an absolute genius, you know, and I see also like he's so intelligent that it's kind of overwhelming to him as well. It's a lot
Yes.
of information. He's kind of like he feeds
Fills
out
your brain,
information,
yeah.
and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of a little bit glad that I'm not that smart, but I'm also smart enough to know that I'm not that smart. You know,
Ignorance
it's
is
pretty good.
bliss.
Yeah,
Ignorance is bliss.
maybe I
That's what
don't
they
know. Maybe
say.
it is. Sometimes it feels
A
like it is,
certain
to be honest.
amount. A certain amount
Sure.
to an
Yeah, it
extent.
certainly feels that way. Yeah.
So speaking of, you said before about patience with writing a book. I tried to write a book when I was 17. It was completely like fiction. And
Sure.
I was challenging myself. I wanted to write from the perspective of a guy who like broke my heart. This like
Mhm.
metaphorical kind of guy that was like a combination of all
Sure.
my ex-boyfriends. Very
Yeah.
apathetic. So it is, look, it's not an easy feat. Like
No,
writing a
no,
book, not even. So my question is, how long did this take you completely?
So obviously, if you consider everything that I've written, it took me from like the time I was 15 to now almost, right? Because I started writing so many of those things when I was younger. But the actual process of writing the book, it wasn't that long. You know, I did it in about like I think 4 months or so. It was what took me to just like pile everything together and kind of go
Kind of
through it.
impressive. That's kind of impressive.
That rarely happens to me, to be honest. Like that's a very rare thing for me to do because I'm usually very like slow about things. Like I'm working on a little film project right now that I've been working on for a long time, and I always kind of go back to it, then I go away and
Quality over
keep doing
quantity.
that.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Maybe I don't even know if it's that. I think it's mostly
Sometimes.
just it's just that I think of I have so many different interests and so many different things that I'm doing that sometimes I can't focus on one thing for that long. But I think it was just the moment, you know. I think I was going through so many things in my head that I had to write. Like I just had to do that. And it was just I was very lucky to do that when at that particular moment because I was just so inspired that I was just writing every day, which
Came
is something that I've never
naturally.
done before.
Came
Yeah,
very
exactly,
naturally to
exactly.
you. Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that was I was very lucky to write it during that time.
Was there any hindrance or obstacle that you had to overcome in order to write this?
There was a lot of fear because I've always been afraid of judgment. I'm less afraid today of judgment than I was back then. I was always very like I've never really I had like even though I was a filmmaker, I was always working like as a director of photography or as a production assistant, something in the background. Like the movie isn't mine, I just worked on it. So if something goes wrong, it's not my fault. But I had never like done my own film, my own stuff, and because partially it was because it's kind of scary. You know, it's kind of scary to take full responsibility for something and for people to judge it. So I kind of had to overcome that of just being like, okay, look, I'm just going to do this for myself. I'm going to write this for me. And if I'm happy with it, then I'm happy with it. If people don't like it, then they didn't like it, and that's fine. And just kind of accepting that as I was writing. So I think that's mostly what I had to overcome.
Here's a good one. How do you think you will feel about this work about this book in 10 years? Meaning,
I can already tell you how I feel right now.
Which is?
It's been a while. I do not connect with it as much as I did in the past.
Okay.
I really don't. Because it represents a different part of me or a different part of my life.
Version of you.
Yeah. When I read it, it's like, there are still things that I like. There's still things
it's like
that I go,
meeting your former self.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. There's some things that I know, oh, that I got right. And that was good. That was well written. That was well put. That was actually well thought out. And there's some other things that I just go, okay, that was just complete nonsense off the top of my head that I would never write if I was writing this today. But it's also a matter of like, I've learned not to be embarrassed by your past behavior at all. Cause it's like, look, the only point of thinking about what you've done before, like what you've written, what you've said, what you've done, is to learn from it. That's the only point. That's the only utility there is to it. And once you learn whatever it is that you have to learn from that past version of yourself, there's absolutely no utility at all to feeling bad or to like beating yourself up about something you've written or said. So it kind of just became like, okay, this book represents a different part of my life. That's who I was. That's what I thought was right to write down. And I wouldn't write this book today. That's for sure. So I feel like in 10 years, it's going to be even farther for me. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was going to say, how do you think you'll feel about this book in 10 years? Like, will you say, oh, that was like my masterpiece, I could never write anything better? Or would you say like, wow, I could do like so much better now?
Oh, yeah. No, let me just start recording here again so you don't. Okay. Yeah. I would definitely say that I can do much better. Like, I think I can do better. I'm trying to still write
correct answer.
Just get better. Just get better every day. Like, there's no way. I don't think I'm ever going to look back and say that was it and I couldn't do it again. Like, or I couldn't do better than that. And if I ever do that, I think I'm just going to be miserable thinking, oh, I've reached the maximum point of my abilities. Like, that's such a sad thing to think about.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, that's like the right way to live, is to know that you can improve. Would you ever write fiction?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Have you ever written fiction?
There's a little bit of fiction in the book, right? In the beginning of it, just a short story. So I might, like, I've written screenplays, it's completely fictional. But when I'm writing, I usually don't write that much fiction. It's sometimes poems, sometimes short stories, but it usually just becomes something about myself or about something else that's real. So I don't know, maybe I can see it happening in the future, but not at the moment.
Next question. Oh shit. I thought of one while you were talking and then I fucking forgot it. Oh my God, we were talking about fiction.
No, don't worry about it.
Oh yes, I got it. Do you have a favorite excerpt from your book? One of your favorite things that you wrote?
It might be what I read to you, I think, because it's the one quote that I felt like I had to put in the back, right? I've talked about writing because I felt like that was the whole point. There are things that I wrote, for example, here. I have the book right here just in case I forget anything. I wrote there is one part that I talk about my generation, right? And it's a chapter that's just called My Beloved Generation. And it's very short. It's just 3 pages long. But it's just something I wrote about the generation that I live in, because I've always been kind of like, the kind of romantic idiot that says he should have lived, should have been born in a different time or something like that.
Old soul.
Which thankfully I outgrew that idea. I try not to be that arrogant anymore. But
right.
But I try to. I was sitting in the UCF library.
Okay.
I was sitting there by myself. And I just started looking at people and I just started observing everybody. I do that. It might be a little weird, but I just like
very much a writer move. That's an author move.
And then I just started writing. I started writing what I see, like just the beauty that I saw, just the truly beautiful things that I was observing and trying to go deeper into that. And I think that would probably be one of my favorite things that I've written, is just that whole kind of part right there. It's
what did you say about it?
I can read it, I think.
I would love for you to read it.
It's not too long. Okay.
Yeah. This is an interview, man. Like, we're trying to get to know this book,
Let's see. So I wrote, I see beauty in people of all ages sharing a space with kindness and warmth. I see a desperate need for approval that builds itself and feeds itself while we go through this path of life. I see a fog, the result of many unspoken truths and personalities, that clouds our otherwise perfect judgment of the world. I see a masquerade of the deepest, most needful love disguised as indifference. I see a feeling of remorse that dominates us and that haunts us, but that it shall be destroyed with the help of those who cares. I see our eyes searching for the future at every turn, imagining it with such delight and fear. I see us all on the verge of tears, not for sorrow, but for an overwhelming sensation of need. I see a generation failing to understand those who came before and being misunderstood in return. I see beautiful people that withstand all this overwhelming existence by taking part in a fight we do not yet understand. I see kindness, selfishness, nearly insurmountable fear, and the distinct need to give and receive love. I see us becoming the next generation and perhaps understanding the one that will shortly follow. I see this future generation building upon that which we could not grasp. I see them showing us the answers we could not find alone. I see beauty. I see love. I see prosperity. That shall be our greatest reward. So that's probably my favorite part, I think.
2 words, speechless. Just kidding.
I appreciate it.
Oh my God, that's great. Like, you know, writers are always so introspective, and they're always like, this is what I always call like the beauty of overthinking, because
Sure.
you know, I think overthinking can be a beautiful thing as long as it doesn't become harmful. And obviously that wasn't harmful at all. In fact, it sounds like it was quite, cathartic for you. Mm-hmm. And optimistic too. That was a very,
yes. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah.
I tend to be very optimistic. I'm like by nature, very optimistic.
Most authors are quite cynical.
Right. Yeah. And I appreciate cynicism. I really appreciate cynicism, by the way, because it's like I'm very optimistic to the point that I sometimes have to be reminded of the things that are terribly wrong.
Of course.
And so I do appreciate cynicism to a certain extent, but it doesn't please me. Right. And
of course.
When I say that, of course, cynicism doesn't please anybody, but it doesn't really attract me to it. Right. I'm mostly attracted to people who they present life as a problem, but they also see hope and see a solution in the future.
Yes, that's really good.
That really attracts me to
that should attract everyone.
Right. Yeah. But like I do appreciate cynicism to a certain extent. I think we need people who are pessimistic.
It's the self-awareness of knowing that there are things wrong. Like I would prefer someone who knows that things are wrong and then sees a possibility of them getting better, as opposed to a person who thinks that nothing matters or thinks that nothing will ever get better. Like that's exactly what you want. Yeah. Because that's in ways in a lot of ways that's like the only way to be, or like the right way to be, because I feel like you'll have a certain like perpetual misery if you're someone who's just like, nothing is ever gonna change, nothing will ever get better. I was like, well, okay, well then why are you living? You know what I mean?
I think the biggest danger is kind of fetishizing your misery, which a lot of people do. You know, they find comfort in being miserable. They find comfort in, oh, nothing is going to work out, so why should I care anyway?
Because it's familiar.
Right, yeah, and it's comfortable because if everything's going to hell anyway, then I don't have any responsibility whatsoever in what I do, because there's nothing I can do to change it anyway. So I might as well either make it worse or just keep going with the train that's leading us down to hell. And it's like, well, that's one way to live. I think that's an awful way to live. I couldn't possibly live that way. But some people choose that way. But I think when I say cynicism, I prefer the people who don't fetishize that, like people who are generally pessimistic, but they don't fall back into that being like, okay, that's my existence and who cares or whatever. Right. Because there are very cynical people, very pessimistic people who are still trying to fix things, who are like, no, we're going to still do it. And I really appreciate those people. Even though I'm not one of them, I really appreciate them. Yeah.
It's like that lyric from that song by Gautier, you can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness.
Sure. Yes, exactly. It's exactly that. Perfect.
Yeah. You grow absolutely comfortable. Yeah. You grow comfortable. Exactly. When you said before, like fetish or romanticizing, like your sadness and kind of becoming, identifying with it, being like, this is who I am. This is just, and like allowing yourself to not change. Like that's kind of how I was at the beginning of this year when I was going through a really deep depression. I was like, well, this is, instead of seeing it as from the perspective of like, this is what I'm going through, I was seeing it as this is who I am. And I'm stuck in this like pattern, and I'm stuck in this like rut. Like I was like, there's no way I could change. And it was almost, I think it is important to give yourself permission to feel what you need to feel when you need to feel it. But there's a difference between giving yourself permission to feel versus like staying in that and seeing yourself as like stuck and just being like, yeah, like I said, like identifying with it, being like, well, this is who I am. Like, I'm just gonna be depressed for the rest of my life. There's nothing I can do. I mean, that's the easy option, right? The hard option is giving yourself that power, like standing in your power and giving yourself that ability, because that is holding yourself accountable. It's to say that like, oh, I can do something. You have to exert your own effort to change, to get better, to do what you can to, you know, improve yourself and improve your, you know, your life and your mood and everything like that. And that's the hard part. And it's even harder when you are stuck in that feeling in real time of being so unmotivated. Sorry, I kind of went off into like a tangent.
No, but
there.
I completely agree. Yeah, that's exactly the point.
Yeah. So next question. Yeah, so I asked about the fiction thing. So are you going to write more books in the future?
I'm actually currently working on a couple of things. Well, first, I've been writing a lot of things on film, because film is still a big passion of mine.
Absolutely.
Even though I'm now studying psychology, and psychology has become a huge passion of mine. But film is always going to have a place in my heart. I'm never going to leave it behind.
Right.
So I've been writing for a magazine, actually. I've been writing for this British film magazine called Film East, which has been great. I published one article with them, and I'm also writing a new article that's going to be featured on a book next year. That's going to be a book about British cinema. And so I'm really excited about that. But for like, I don't know exactly when, because I'm still just kind of in the beginning stages of it. But I've been writing more of that list that I told you about, right? Just like thinking about certain things and writing down that list of solutions and things that I've realized about myself and my life and life in general. But I'm writing it with a different thing in mind now, because now I'm writing that list thinking about my little brother, right? He's 14. He's still like, he looks up to me a lot, and we always have conversations about things that he's going through. And thankfully I'm able to help him most of the time. But I always thought it's like, I want him to have something written down, something that he can always like have near him if he has any sort of issue. Right, exactly. And if I'm not around for any reason, he can have that. And so I've been working on that for the past few months now. And
with your little brother, you're getting like kind of a window into this next generation of people.
Yeah, 100%.
But still related to you. That's really interesting.
Yes. And I feel very responsible as well, because it's like, you know, when I was far away, because I stayed in the US I stayed there for almost 5 years. It was about 4 years, but a little bit longer than that. And it was a long time away from him, because when I left, he was 10 and now he's 14, right? So it's like a lot changed during that time. Like I would visit once a year maybe, like, and also the pandemic happened, so I couldn't visit sometimes. So it's like I got to see him very little. So I missed a lot of his life. And now that he's older, there was a lot of things when I got here that he was thinking, like ideas that he had, stuff that he learned from the internet, and like people who really shouldn't be saying certain things. And he had so many wrong ideas. Oh, you can imagine. Yeah. Well, that was, no, seriously. Because it's like, look, what I try to teach him is like, try to find value in what people say. Like even someone like Andrew Tate has certain things that he says that has value. But if you take a broken
clock is still right twice a day.
Right. It's like, exactly. It's like, don't just shove everybody into one corner if this is wrong and this is right, because then you're going to end up completely, messed up. But I try to point him out. Like I took videos of other guys who were saying things that were kind of messing with his head a bit. And I try to point out, like, look, this is right, but this, like, they might be pointing out a problem that exists. Yeah. But the solution that they point out is completely wrong. Right. Exactly. So it's like, try to have some critical thought when you're watching.
Look at it with a critical eye. Always look at it with a critical eye. Question your environment.
Yeah, question the whole thing. And I try to point that out to him, because sometimes he was so into those ideas that I came to him and I said, okay, let's listen to this. Look at how he's saying that. Look how wrong this is. Look at this. Look, this has value. And started working with him. And finally, like, now he's so much different from the kid he was when I arrived here a few months ago. Like, he sees things much more clearly. He's so much more critical of what everybody says. And I'm really, really proud of him. So it was good to be able to come back and still be a part of his life and still be some sort of a reference to him. So yeah, I've been working on that book with him in mind.
So he
Yeah.
doesn't think that women are property.
No, he does not think that. Absolutely not.
Oh, you're like,
Absolutely.
everyone, if you're like, he doesn't think that, he knows that.
If I was Andrew Tate, there would be a great moment for a line like that for sure. Yeah. But no, I am very different.
Do you think that people will have a deeper understanding of who you are, a deeper understanding of your personality that is not accessible in real life through your writing and through your book? Do you think they'll see you maybe in a different perspective, or maybe like look at you in a different way, or just understand you on a deeper level?
Oh, absolutely. I think people who've read this book, they know more about me than they would have if they didn't. Because I talk about a lot of things that I've thought about that happened, and I try to go into very selfish things that I've done and thought and said.
Of course.
And so which is something that I usually like whenever you're talking to someone, you try to show your best version of yourself, right? You try to show how cool you are and how intelligent, how
good first impressions are everything.
Right. Yeah. And in this book, it's like, oh, you thought this about this person, you said this, and it's like, but it's stuff that I thought, I kind of have to put it down into writing and to make it available for people to even know that that's happened. It's like, and currently the book is not available for purchase, believe it or not. And the reason for that is just mostly just visa stuff, because I can't work in the US and it would get in the way of receiving money and all that kind of stuff.
Will I get the first draft, the exclusive?
No, sure. I have it in PDF and everything. I have a bunch of files in the book, and I have the not for resale version of it right here because I bought a few for my family and stuff.
Of course.
But it was good to have that out in the open for a while, and for people to just read it and be like, yeah, there are some wrong things that I've done and said and thought before that I've learned from, right? And that's the most important thing.
And I was going to say, since before you were talking about, Brazil and living in America. So you had to move back to Brazil, or did you choose to?
I had to. So when I was in the US, I was on a student visa. So I had a student visa for, it was valid for 4 years, but I was going to college for 2 years, right? I majored in film production. So when I got my degree, what happens when you have a student visa is you can get a work permit, right? So I got a work permit, and the work permit is valid for a year. So I got a work permit and I started teaching film. I taught at the Florida Institute of Recording Sound Technology, and I taught there for about a year. I came back later to teach, but for free, just to give some lectures and stuff like that because I wanted to help out.
So charitable.
Yeah, it was just wonderful, and it was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And I love teaching. I'm sure you can tell I love talking, and and teaching was a great excuse to talk for hours.
Can't relate.
No, right. So it's like I absolutely fell in love with teaching. But then my work permit expired, of course, and I had a few choices. I tried getting sponsorship for a work visa, for a green card, that stuff. It's still kind of maybe possible to happen, but it's not really that much. I'm not really focused on that anymore as much as I was when I was there. But the second choice was, well, if I want to stay longer, I can get another student visa. Right? I can just renew my student visa and go back to school. And I've always had an interest in psychology, and I saved up a lot of money when I was teaching. Right. So I was very careful with my money. I saved up I try to save up $1,000 a month at least, so I could have as much money as possible to do whatever I wanted with it by the end of it. And I had a lot of money saved, and I thought, okay, so I have a couple of choices. One, I go back to Brazil and I keep this money in an account. I try to use it in different ways, see what I can do with it. Or I spend it all to stay another 6 months in the US, to study, to be with my friends, to continue the life I had here.
Right.
And I made the choice of staying. I thought, okay, I want to use this money to stay. So I paid for my college. I paid for everything. So I stayed there with my friends. And it was incredible. I do not regret a single cent that I spent on that.
Yeah.
It was an incredible 6 months that I spent there. But once the money ran out and the semester was over, I was like, okay, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford to stay here with my parents' money, because the exchange rate is just terrible for Brazilian money, right? It's just
Is
it's
it?
awful. Like it's like it went up to $6 once, but now it's like 5. It went down to 4, but it's like my parents' salary is worth 4 to 5 times less in the US than it is here. So it's kind of hard
That's
to do
out of
that, right?
control. Oh my
Right.
God.
So it got to a point that I was like, okay, well, I got to go back. And so I came back, and it was actually good, to be honest. I don't feel bad about it. Because at first I was kind of like, oh man, I
So
can't
you
believe
hate your
I
friends
have
in
to.
America? No, just
No, I
kidding.
absolutely adore them, and I talk to them
Yeah.
every day, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is also awesome because like I was afraid of losing contact, but we've kept in contact really well.
Yeah.
But when I left, I realized, because I try to look at life as different. Like I look at
Yeah.
different parts of my life as what am I learning then, right? So it's like when I stayed in the US for 4 years, living with the same people, kind of like I've moved to
You had your
three
crew.
different
I've met
apartments.
some of your crew.
Right, you know them,
Yeah.
and it's like, so I lived with them. I had those people. I had the parties I went to, and the stuff that I did, and the subjects I studied, and psychology, and film, and work. All of that was
And
happening,
the girls you met.
but the girls I met, exactly. And
Anyways.
it got to a point at the end of at the end of this whole season, this whole thing that I was there. It got to a point that I was just in kind of a repetition cycle, just like I was doing the same
Right.
things, going to the same places with the same people. I wasn't learning anything new. I felt like I was stuck.
I
And
felt that.
when I
Yeah.
realized I had to go back, I was like, great. It's like wonderful. If I have to go back, it means that I'm gonna go into a different part of my life where I'm gonna learn different things, which has been the case 100%. That's when I started, getting closer to my brother and writing that book for him and going back to study psychology. It's like
That's so
everything
wholesome.
changed when I came here. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be back. Like there's no, I
great.
still don't want to stay in Brazil. Like it's still the idea is still to go back, or maybe Canada or something like that. I've always wanted to try different places, live in different places. But for now, it's been an incredible journey. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a preference? Did you like America better or Brazil better?
It depends on a lot of things. There's certain things that are better.
There's like
here and certain things that
nostalgia,
are better there.
and then there's like,
Sure, yeah.
familiarity.
I think like there's people are very different. They're not that
Really?
different once you get to know them. They're not that different. But in the beginning, they are, because it's like, so in America, like when you meet someone, right? They're not your friend yet. They might become your friend someday.
Yeah.
It might be weird to like be very touchy and hugging. That might be a little
You
bit strange
told
in the
me this.
beginning.
You told me about this. You
Right?
told me about this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It might be a little strange. It's like, but once you become really close to that person, then it's okay. In
Yeah.
Brazil, it's like we're already intense from the get-go. It's like nobody cares. Everybody's
Affectionate.
yeah. I have
Physically, yeah.
my friends. They once try to make fun of me. They put on a Brazilian reality show at my place just to laugh at it and make fun of Brazilians and stuff. And I was like, okay. And in the beginning of the show, it's like any reality show, right? The guys and the girls meet at the house and stuff like that. So
It's like
the
Love
first- the guy-
Island.
so the- yeah, something like that. It's probably that. It's like Love Island in Brazil. Let's pretend it's that. So the guys come in, right? So first there's one guy, he's like drinking and stuff, and another guy comes in, and they're like, "Bro, how are you?" They're like, they hug, they jump together, like everybody's like hugging and going crazy. And my friends, they're sitting next to me, and they go, "Oh, they've met before?" And I'm like, "No, this is the first time they've literally ever said any word to each other." Because that's how
That's so
Brazilians
good.
are. And it's so funny to see like an American reacting to that, being like, that is so strange. So people are different, but
Yeah.
in terms of opportunities, especially in the film industry, which is where I've worked for most of my life, there's not a lot of opportunities here. There are some, but it's a very different kind of business than it is in the US. And so there's a lot more opportunities. Like I was working there as a film teacher from the time I was 20. And here I'm still kind of like struggling to find exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to make nearly as much money that I was making there. So there are downsides, but I'm very glad to be back. Like I kind of missed people,
Yeah.
especially the Brazilian people. It's like I miss that.
How's the government?
Oh, it's a complete
Is it off
disaster. Like,
limits? Yeah.
oh, it's a complete disaster. Like, well, here's the thing. There's a lot of there's two, like in the US, you usually have two sides,
Right.
right?
There's the Midwest, and then there's like the South, and like,
and like here we also have that. We have two very distinct sides.
of course.
But I personally hate them both with a passion. It's like, the previous president, I hated him with a passion. I thought he was absolutely terrible.
Hey, same here in America. His name was Donald Trump. Heard of him?
Yeah, and Bolsonaro did a terrible, terrible, awful job. But then Lula came back, which he used to be our president, and he was also terrible. Like, I don't like him at all. Like, if I have to choose between Bolsonaro and him, at this point I'm choosing him just because Bolsonaro was truly, truly a disaster. But that doesn't mean I like him either. So it's like you have to choose. I wish he was choosing between two kinds of sweets, but it's like choosing between two pieces of shit. It's there's nobody's happy. I'm not happy with what's happening, but I wouldn't be happy if he won either. So,
American presidents or Brazilian presidents? I know.
I don't know. It depends on a lot of stuff. Like if you're going to talk in terms of corruption, in terms of how much money they steal, Brazilian presidents, they take the cake on how much money they steal from everybody. But if you're going to talk about other stuff, like even like when it comes to war and to violence and all of that, then American presidents are then they're going to have to deal with their own thing there. So I don't know. It's I've never been a big fan of politics, to be honest. It always pisses me off. Yeah.
Worst part of Brazil versus worst part of Florida. Or America in general. But I guess did you really only experience Florida when you were in America?
No, living, yes. I only lived in Florida, but I've been all over the place. But to live, I only lived in Florida. I don't know what's the worst. I couldn't tell you what's the worst part. I could tell you some things that I don't like. Like, there are certain things.
You can't make out with strangers. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, I prefer that in America, believe it or not. I prefer dating in America. Dating in America, I think, is much more interesting than dating in Brazil. Because dating in Brazil has gotten to a point that it's incredibly liberal to the point that nothing means anything.
There's no chase.
But nothing means anything. Yeah, it's like, here's the thing, right? You have, like, in America, they have, guys might be the like they can date a lot of girls, but girls can't really, In Brazil, everybody's is fucking around. Like, girls, men, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's incredible. Like, everybody's doing it. Like, I had to remind myself, because if you go to correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go to a club in the US, right? You go to a club and you make out with somebody you don't know. You just, you just start making out with somebody.
I've never done that ever.
Well, let's just pretend you do.
Just kidding.
You would assume. I know. But like, I'm giving you a chance to pretend. Let's assume that you would do that. Of course you wouldn't, but let's assume you would do that. Do you expect that person is going to be like, you and that person are going to be at least together for the rest of the party a little bit?
Fuck no.
Or do you not expect? Not at all?
Oh, we're talking about me here. Like, okay, here's the thing. I'm kind of the worst.
Okay, not the best example, but I'm just mean like in America.
You're like, you should ask someone else. No, I see what you mean. I 100%.
But in America, it's more common for like, okay, two people are just doing that. They're going to be like doing that for the rest of the party.
Monogamous.
Right. It's not even completely, but just for the night that's common. But in Brazil, it's like, all right, you're making out with this person, then you just get up and you make out with somebody else, and the girl's doing the same thing.
And like, everyone is getting strep throat, and everyone is getting mono.
100%. Yeah, everybody's getting everything. Which is I've never enjoyed that. I've never really liked it. And I've always kind of just been like, it's exciting when you're younger, like when you're starting out and you're like, oh man, that's how it is. But after a while, it loses all meaning to me.
Yeah.
It's
like
boring.
There's something very special about like when you first meeting someone or you first on a date, that build up to like, oh, when are we going to kiss for the first time? And you like find the right lead in line and everything like that.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, and like you can do this here as well. Like this still happens, but it's not as common. It's not as much of a part. It's not as much of a part of the culture as it is in America. So in that case, I would actually prefer the United States.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways
and I was gonna say, I was like, so when are you like coming back to Florida? Asking for a friend. No, I'm just
So
kidding.
actually, okay, so yeah, about Florida, I'm actually visiting Florida at the end of the year. I'm gonna be there for Christmas and New Year's. So I'm coming back for Christmas first by myself. I'm gonna stay with my friend
Max.
Austin
I've met
actually, which you've
Austin.
met. You've met Austin, yeah. So I'm staying with him in Tampa for Christmas,
Tampa
and then after that,
sucks.
like a little bit
A little
sometimes.
bit.
Um, but then but for New Year's, my parents are coming over, and my brother, my whole family is going to Florida as well. So we're gonna go on a cruise, and then we're gonna after the cruise, gonna drive up to New Orleans. So it's gonna be a whole trip that we're gonna do for New Year's. But for Christmas,
Damn.
I'm there. Yeah.
What do you miss most about Florida? Your friends.
Oh, definitely my friends. Yeah, 100%. There is no doubt about that at all. It's like they're just oh man, they're like brothers to me at this point. Like they're like my siblings. It's so interesting because I met them, when I was 18, and
You got lucky.
like
Max is one of the
very
greatest
much
people
so.
I've ever
Oh
met.
yeah, he's
Like,
incredible, and it's like,
yeah.
and I was lucky to stay in the same room as he did. Like we were roommates by chance. And then we met Austin, and we met the whole rest of the gang, who's like, and they're all like siblings to me at this point. And so yeah, that's definitely the thing that I miss the most, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Aww, that's so
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
So I think I want you to stay on longer because this has just been so great. It's one of my favorite
I don't even know
interviews
what
so
time
far.
it is. I'm kind of what time?
3:30.
Yeah, we're good.
3:30 for me.
So far, so yeah, 4:30 for me. It's all good.
Yeah. So your favorite book as a child, because this might affect.
Oh yeah, I actually have that answer. I actually
Here we
had
go.
two favorites. I had two favorites.
Good
that I
Night
could
Moon.
never pick.
No, I'm kidding.
No. Well, what do you mean as a child though? What age are you talking about?
Oh, here we go. Give me one as like a child, like before you were a preteen, right? Let's say like 5, 6 years old, and then give me one from when you were like more of a teenager.
Oh, when I was when I was super young, like when I was a little kid, I used to love reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That was my thing. I would read that.
Go to the
all
book
the time.
fair. You go to the goddamn book fair. Exactly.
I would buy it as soon as it came out. Like I had that. But then when I grew up a little bit, like when I was probably like 14 or so, I started reading more like mystery novels and stuff like that. So
Right.
I read two novels that I fell in love with from them, like three actually. God, yeah, it was three. It was The Hound of Baskervilles, which is from Sherlock Holmes, right? So that was an incredible.
Of course, I'm a big reader, so I totally.
That's Arthur Conan Doyle. I loved that book. And I was
Oh, is that what you're named after?
Not really, no. But
or were you named after every day when you're walking down the street as a particular one?
My students, when I used to teach, they used to make fun of me with that all the time.
What a wonderful kind of day. Believe
all the time. I cannot take that anymore. I lived with years of people making fun of me.
I'm sorry. You know I had to. It'd be blasphemous not to.
Yeah, of course. It is the Arthur show, so absolutely. But then there was that, and there was also Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, which I loved when I was younger. I just adored that book for some reason. And then A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
Oh, okay.
Which is still one of my favorites. Like even to this day, Charles Dickens to me. Like I knew the whole first chapter of A Christmas Carol by heart. Like I could just say it out loud. Not anymore, but it was just all in my head because I read it so many times.
Right.
That was probably it. So Charles Dickens, Arthur Conan Doyle, and Jules Verne were my three, big ones when I was young.
Christmas book is an interesting choice. Do you love Christmas?
Christmas Carol, I do. I've always loved Christmas.
I love Christmas.
I really love it. Yeah.
You have a celebrity twin. I'm going. Yep. Hold on. Let me find him. Okay,
I'm curious. I've heard some different people say different celebrities. I'm curious to hear which one you're gonna bring up. I'm very curious.
Second. Okay. You kind of have two of them. Give me a sec.
Okay.
All right. Oh, that's what the show is called. Okay.
I want to see if it's someone that someone has compared me with before or not.
Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to send you this first one, and then you have another one because these two white men look almost exactly the same. All right, I sent it.
Phone.
I sent the first one. Oh, you look just like him in this photograph. Hold on. Look at this photograph.
Oh my god, what am I about to see? Wait, I still haven't gotten it, but I'm gonna get it right now.
Oh god. Okay, hold on. I'm setting another.
Yeah, I just got it. Let me see.
Right?
Who is this guy? No. Who is he?
You agree with me, right? You agree with me,
I'm not
right?
Sure. I've never been compared to this guy. Okay, here's for people to see. Here's the first picture.
Smile. Do a smile.
See, I'll stand next to it. Oh, there you go. And then the next picture is this.
My God.
I'll smile again. Wait.
Come on,
I don't know.
dude.
I don't know about this. I don't know. Wait. So I have two. Which one's the second one?
They are the same guy.
Yeah, but you say I had two.
Oh, yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, Tyler John Smith, I mean, you look way more like that first one. You look like sort of a younger version of this other guy when he shaves his face. But that one guy,
I'm good.
Yeah. You're like, I'm all set. Come on.
That, yeah.
You have to see it, right?
I see a little bit. We'll have people decide if that's
We'll hold a poll. We'll do like a vote.
Sure, you can do that. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm down to find out. Yeah.
I've been dying to tell you that you had the minute I saw you, I was like, was he on a television program called Famous in Love with Bella Thorne? Oh my God.
Bella Thorne. There you go. Yeah.
Bella Thorne. Do you know Bella Thorne? You first.
I was almost an actor, believe it or not, for a while. Like when I was younger.
I wanted to be an
14.
actor really bad.
When I was 14, I went to acting school. I was almost in a movie, which was probably the worst movie ever made, which I'm very glad to this day that I was not a part of. But yeah, I got cast in a movie and then I realized how bad it was and I decided to leave. So
Field of Dreams? No, I'm just kidding. I've never seen that movie. I'm just kidding. Bella Thorne was born October 8th, 1997. That is the exact same birthday as me, to the day and year and month.
Nice. You actually kind of remind me a little bit of her. Yeah, there's a little bit of
who's
Bella
my
Thorne.
celebrity twin? I've heard that I have the same voice as Jennifer Lawrence. I've heard that I have the same voice.
100%. Oh God, now that you mention it.
You just have to relax, have fun, and don't say the F word. I can't say the F word, right?
Unfortunately not.
For the whole show?
Correct.
Not even once?
Okay, maybe once.
All right. Yeah, let's do this, mother.
Holy shit.
I've
People
heard
are going to
that
think I'm on a podcast. If they just listen to it, they're going to think I'm on a podcast with Jennifer Lawrence, for sure.
Well, now I am. God.
I've heard that
I did not notice that.
I've heard another voice similarity. Have you seen Stranger Things?
Yes.
The fourth season, I think, or like the fourth season with that girl Robin. The girl Robin. I think that was her name. She was also in that movie Do Revenge. I think she's a Nepo baby.
I'm not sure. Wait, is she blonde?
In the show?
Yeah.
Let me find out. Hold on. Stranger
No.
Things.
Oh, yeah, Robin. Yes, I know who she is. She's the daughter of Ethan Hawke, and she's Maya Hawke, right? Yeah, Maya Hawke. Yeah, she's the daughter of Ethan Hawke.
So apparently her
Uma Thurman.
voice. So apparently people tell me that my voice like reminds them of her.
You know that means you suck.
Yep, I can read too.
Since when?
My brain is moving faster than my mouth, or rather, my mouth is moving faster than my brain, and it's like I'm digging this hole for myself, and I want to stop digging, and I'm trying to stop digging, but I can't, and I'm doing it right now, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
I'm hopeless.
Yeah, I've heard that. And then have you seen the show Black Mirror?
Yes.
Have you seen the episode Nosedive with the girl with the red hair and she has like the app of the never mind. Okay, but I've heard a lot of like celebrity twins. Hold on, let me go to her. Okay, hold on, wait. Bryce Dallas Howard is her name.
Yes, of course, Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. She's also a Nepo baby. She's the daughter of Ron Howard, the film director.
Why isn't this working?
I know what she looks like. I just can't. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, you do like a little bit. Yeah, you do look like her a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is.
With the red hair
But
also.
the voice is 100% Jennifer Lawrence. I'm pretty sure I'm talking to Jennifer Lawrence right now. If I close my eyes, that's it.
And then I'm nervous. I'm like, whoop, I better drink. That doesn't help. I'm like, oh boy, I hope I don't go on TV and say something silly.
I just like hide.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like whatever. I'm just like a regular person.
I'm sorry, I did a shot before I. Sorry.
Where's the pizza?
do not do that impression. That is insane. That's
Yeah, it's like
insane.
it's like what do you mean? What am I doing? Look at my dress.
What do you mean what happened? Look at my dress.
I fucking tripped
That
over.
is
I wanted to
insane.
say it's like I wanted to say a word that started with F,
A bad word that I can't say. That starts with F.
but I can't
Holy
say
shit,
it. I
never
can't
noticed
say
that.
the F word. Yeah. I got it. I'm not
Wow.
relatable actor.
Wow.
So
All
this
right.
is so now I
I'm
know many impressions. Yeah, I can do many impressions. Damn, I don't want this interview to end. Promise me that you'll come on the podcast again. My fans are gonna love
Sure.
you.
Yeah. My pleasure. It would be absolutely my pleasure.
This
Thank
was
you.
great. This was so
Yeah,
great.
this was really great. Yeah.
Better than I expected.
Oh, seriously, thank you so much for having me. That was
Thank
really,
you for
that was
coming
really great.
on.
Oh, it was my pleasure. My pleasure.
But yeah, that was damn. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I have to do my little outro. But first off,
Sure.
tell the people where they can find you on social media. Tell them what to, plug all your projects, everything like that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I don't have any projects at the moment, but on Instagram, that's mostly where I'm at. So it's at Arthur M. Viegas. So the letter M and Viegas, everything together. So
Yeah.
Viegas, just in case people don't know how to spell Viegas.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Finn Invasion podcast. And always remember, like I always say, if you feel like you don't fit in on this earth, don't worry, you are out of this world. Isn't that cute? Like fitting in on this earth, you're out of this world. Okay, let me